الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم
person, as a good person that I can see you are, you're just saying that. Let me just finish, okay? Like, I'll listen to you, you listen to me, we keep this conversation respectful, all right? Okay. You know that a human being is not your property, right? And when you beat somebody, and if they die a day later because you beat them with a rod, you know you should be held accountable for that. And I know you know that, so I don't know why you're saying this is just when you know it's not. So I'm not appalled, I'm kind of concerned about your honesty now, whether you're really having an honest conversation or not, all right? Okay. Now, what's just about my God in the Quran? It's not just my God, the God that is. Oh, go ahead. So you asked me a question, so I was going to answer it. Go ahead.
I just don't, that scripture that you're looking at is not a law of God.
The Mosaic laws were laws of God, right? You said that earlier.
Right.
No, wait, I'm sorry. So I asked you earlier who ordained these laws, and you said God did, and now you're saying they're not the laws of God.
When I was talking about the Mosaic laws, talking about the Ten Commandments, I do realize that this is also the Mosaic law to the Jews, right?
Right.
When Moses said you cannot get a divorce, but Jesus then later permitted it.
Jesus did or Paul did?
Jesus did.
Where?
Under a circumstance.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I got the translation. Yeah, that's the translation.
If you want to get back to me later at a different time, it's okay. No pressure. It's not we're not in a debate here. We're having a discussion.
I know.
Okay.
That's
okay. Go ahead.
I don't know this front to back.
That's why I said if you want to get back to me later, no, I'm here every Sunday. Come on back.
Yeah, I might have to go into my phone.
It's okay. Go ahead. Or you want to get back to me, it's okay, but go ahead. So the Mosaic laws were ordained by Jesus, right? That's what you said earlier, so don't flip on me now.
What I'm saying is, that's not a law.
That's not a law. So how? Okay.
That
So
was instruction from Moses.
okay. This is for. Okay. Let me.
Moses went up on the mountain, right?
This is not the Ten Commandments.
Right.
Okay.
That's,
So let me.
that's why I'm differentiating.
Okay. So these laws are the laws in Exodus that God, and according to you, that is Jesus, gave for the people of Israel to rule amongst themselves by, right? Meaning, okay.
Right.
So, do you believe?
I think it's just in this circumstance.
Why is it? What's the difference between that circumstance and today?
Because they have a certain culture in which they have.
So in some cultures, it's okay to beat your. God made it okay to beat your servant to death. Come on, you know better than this. You be honest with me, please. Let's just be honest. You know that's horrible, right?
Let me refer back. Okay. And I know I have to find a scripture to prove
that. No, but the fact that you're trying to say that it changed later doesn't really matter because God did ordain it for a people. You believe Jesus ordained that a person can beat their servant to death, and as long as he lives a day, there is no punishment. You believe that? That's the Jesus. Again, you're trying to switch to the Quran now, right? But it's okay. Let's switch. In the Quran, go ahead. What's in the Quran? Everything is just in the Quran.
Okay.
And it's applicable for all time.
Okay, so let's go to the root, because honestly, I have to really sit down and break down scriptures. And
But again, the concept is not even about scripture. You understand what I'm saying. You're just trying to debate it. I'm not. I'm honestly not. Please,
honestly,
go ahead. Please. Take it with you. Nitpick it. Bring it back. I'm here.
But that's nitpicking is not.
But you know you can't, because the Quran is just.
No, I can, because I've had long discussions with Muslims.
Okay, I'm here. I'm Muslim. Have a discussion with me. Show me.
I don't want to nitpick your religion.
I'm not nitpicking. I'm saying this is not a God that is just.
Not read the entire
I have. Oh, again, you assumed something about me, right? Okay. You don't know me. I have actually. Believe it or not, I've actually not just read the Bible multiple times, I've actually studied it with Christians. So don't assume things about me. I used to be amongst Christians. I'm not saying I was a Christian, but I was raised amongst, all my friends were Christian, none of them were Muslim, and I used to go to Bible studies twice a week.
Were you a Muslim then?
No. My family was Muslim, but they were all secularists, right? I had a base belief of being a Muslim, but I didn't pray 5 times a day. I didn't practice. So I was open. So I didn't used to go to a mosque. I used to go to a church. And I studied this Bible cover to cover in a Wednesday youth group, Horizon. You know where Horizon's at? Off of Balboa and Genesee. So don't assume things about me, okay? Now, the thing is, these laws that we find here are, according to you, laws that God ordained for the people of Israel, right? So that's the same God. That's Jesus ordaining these laws. And when you look at a law like this here, if 2 men fight together and the wife of one draws near to rescue her husband from the hand of the one attacking him and puts out her hand and seizes him by the genitals, all right? Then you shall cut off her hand and your eye shall not pity her. Do you understand the context there? 2 men get in a fight. The wife of one tries to help her husband. You have to cut off her hand and you can't pity her. You think that's just?
That was the law.
So you think that's justice?
That was the rule for them in their
And
time.
so Jesus ordained that law. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We're just getting started. What do you mean wrap it up?
I know, I'm sorry.
Look, let me just say one thing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I said the
232.
same thing to the other fellows that I was talking to. I don't want to nitpick because I think, and I know you don't think you're nitpicking.
Okay.
I personally think you are. I want to get down to the basis of what each of our religions.
Excellent. Let's do that.
Because that's what's going to determine if we go to heaven or not, right?
Okay, but let me just say one thing before, and we'll discuss the basis. You base your basis on understanding things from the Bible.
Right.
So when I find things in the Bible I cannot believe are from God, because I find them not just at all, I find them disgusting. You cut off a woman's hand for just trying to help her husband and not pity her. You beat a servant to death and you don't have any consequences because he lived a day. I cannot base my salvation on a book like this. Okay? That's the first thing. So I'm not being nitpicky. I'm trying to see this Quran I've also read and studied cover to cover. There is not a word in it that I have a problem with. I find it to be a 100% just, fair, and for all time. It's not like one culture is okay and one culture is not. I don't find it.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
If I were to write a book that was perfect and moral and just, would you then base all your beliefs on it because it's better?
Great question.
Right?
You as a human being have, and me as a human being can never write something like the Quran. And that's a challenge in the Quran. That if this was from anybody other than Allah, you would have found the same kind of contradictions and mistakes, but you don't, because it's the words of the Creator. La rayba fihi. There is no doubt in it. And this challenge has been put out since the time of the Prophet Muhammad when the Quran was revealed till you've heard of it, right? And nobody's been able to match it, because not just that it's just, there is also the linguistic miracles in it. There is the news of the past that the Prophet didn't know about. There are scientific miracles in it. And if you have time, I can go over them right now. But if not, come back. We don't pressure you.
It's missing the greatest miracle, though.
What's the greatest miracle?
Christ raising from the dead.
Wait, why is that the greatest miracle? Don't you think Adam being born without a father or mother, or many other people that were born without parents, is that not a miracle?
That's not even a miracle.
Now Christ rising from the dead, where did you get that from?
Adam and Eve.
Wait, I'm sorry. Christ rising from the dead, where did you get that information? Wait, hold on. So let's discuss it. Because you mentioned a miracle. I just want to understand. Where did you find out that Christ rose from the dead?
From the prophets.
Which prophet did you speak to?
Not just the prophets.
Which
but
prophet?
The disciples.
Okay,
Historical
so
context.
excellent, excellent,
Even
excellent.
historians who don't
Excellent.
even believe in the Bible, who probably would mock Christ, believe that he lived here and he
But he
died.
didn't rise from the dead. The
But there
historians
are
do not
many
believe
account
that.
witnesses
Okay.
that say
Can you
he
name
did.
one?
Can I name them?
Yeah, one eyewitness that wrote it down himself. You cannot,
No.
because there were none.
That's
The
your-
earliest
that's
the
your-
earliest scriptures that you have for the New Testament talking about the rising and the contradictions there, when he rose, what day was he crucified,
I feel like-
are
I feel
all
like-
over. You know that, right?
I feel like we're going in a circle.
No, because
You know,
see, again, you're basing your religion and your greatest miracle on a book that you don't even know who wrote these scriptures.
I do.
Who wrote them?
I do. The
Who wrote them?
prophets and the disciples.
Which prophets? Name them.
Yes, the prophets.
Uh-huh. Can you-
Daniel.
So
all
you're
of them.
you're
Their
saying.
names, their names are the titles of the chapters.
But that's the thing you're missing that you haven't researched. Is they're named after them. The gospel according to Mark. It's not written by Mark.
Okay.
Most of the apostles and most of the
And where
disciples
do you get that information
from historic research. Can you tell me what is the
from?
earliest?
The Quran.
Excellent. Do you want to jump from here to there now, or do you want me to explain the Bible to you first?
I don't. I'm sorry, but I don't need you to explain it.
But I think you do, unfortunately, and I know you have this pride right now that you don't want to.
No, I
But
don't.
do you know what is the earliest manuscript of the Bible? The New Testament.
Earliest manuscript
Yeah.
of the New Testament.
So you don't, right? So you do need me to help you?
I don't need your words to affirm my belief in the Bible.
But that's the problem. You're affirming your belief on something that you know is not the writings of the disciples of Christ.
No, I don't know that.
How do you know that it is? Because they didn't write. Most of them were Aramaic-speaking fishermen. What are the earliest testaments in? The earliest copies. Again, you don't want to learn. Like you just want to blindly believe. But I'm trying to help you.
I really don't.
Please listen.
Can I
The
say one
earliest
thing?
writings
Can I say one thing?
are in Koine Greek.
Okay.
Did the disciples write in Koine Greek, or were they Aramaic speakers?
They were translations.
Excellent. So they're not the writings
And so
of
is the
those.
Quran.
No, it's not.
Yes,
No,
there
it's
are
not.
translations.
So now let me explain the Quran to you.
Okay, go
Okay? Now,
Did
can I
Muhammad
speak
know
now
how
or
to
no?
literally
Do you want me to speak?
No, I don't.
You don't want me to speak because you know it's the truth
because you're
and you know it's making sense
Sure.
to you.
What's your
Please, Othman.
What's that?
Othman.
Othman?
You don't want me to speak, then how we can have a conversation?
Because you've been speaking for like 5
No,
plus
I listen to you. You speak, I will be quiet. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you guys have a YouTube, by the way?
We do. Yeah, it's
Okay.
called
I
One
don't-
Message
I
Foundation.
don't mind. Okay.
Go ahead.
We can go back and forth. And that's why I said I feel like we're going full circle. I've done the research.
Okay.
I'm not a historian. I'm 18 years old. I have not.
Excellent.
I don't have a brain that memorizes things like crazy. That's why I cannot come back. Like I have notes, but I don't want to go over that. Not because I want to blindly believe. I don't, because I've done the research. I've done the research about the Quran. I've done the research about the other religions that set up their tent series. My main thing that I'm concerned about is the core belief of Islam and the core belief of Christianity. We can go back and forth and argue. I know why you don't believe in the Bible. I don't want to go back and forth and nitpick. Because if I really took the time, if you want me to, you want to give me scriptures you don't understand, I'll come back and I'll write
I
it
do.
down. Okay.
But I'm just going to be quiet right now because I'm only listening.
Okay, and you can write them down and I'll come back. And I'm sure if I did that for the Quran, you would do the same thing. So,
I'm just listening.
right. So I don't want to do that, but I do want to go to the core things. And I was talking to these guys over here, and I told them, how can your God be just? And they couldn't. He said, I don't even want to define justice. Because
I'll answer you.
If you truly define justice, you would find that Allah is not just.
That's wrong.
Okay. Go ahead, respond.
Okay. So, now, you see I let you speak, so you're going to let me speak now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There you go. First thing, just so you understand, the earliest New Testament manuscripts are Codex Sinaiticus, which is from the 4th century. So when you go home, look this up. Okay? 4th century. That means we're talking about 400 years later, around 330 to 360, and they're written in Koine Greek. Now, if you look at the differences between manuscripts, and you get the Greek manuscripts, almost every page has clear differences. Many of the verses, that's why you have a different Bible the Catholics have. They have different numbers of books. Different one that Jehovah's Witnesses have. They have different verses. You have differences between the King James Version and the new versions and numeric differences. Go home and look this up. You're basing your salvation on a book. You better know that it's really from God, right? And this is why the Gospel of Matthew and many of those verses that you see are clearly not from Matthew. Even Christian preachers will tell you that some of these were written by others, right? So Luke wrote some, and you can go home and research this. There's a professor, Dr. Bart Ehrman. You can look him. He's an atheist. He's not a Muslim. He's not a Christian. Excellent. Watch his videos. Just from a historic perspective. Clearly, historians do not believe, other than those that are believing from a Christian belief, that Jesus rose from the dead. Right? Go look it up. Look up the historic research, right? We do not have a single eyewitness account of that rising that wrote down their own account. We have writings that are hundreds of years later, some of them 40, 70 years later, that talk about and ascribe them. They speak to about the person in third person. Mark said, so it's not his own writings. When you go home, research this. I'm not here to debate. I'm here to open your mind, but if you want it to be open.
I know,
okay?
I know. When I came
Excellent.
up here, I was worried that this was going to turn into a debate.
No. This is a discussion. It's a conversation. Excellent.
They've always been respectful, so I appreciate it.
Good. Let me give you an example for you to research when you go home.
Oh, could you do that after? Could you answer my question first?
Okay, as you like.
Just so
Okay,
how is
no
your,
problem.
Right.
Whatever you like. Okay?
How is your God just?
Excellent. My God created everything in justice, right? Meaning, first thing, in a balance, right? And He gave everybody their places. And He gave His laws to rule by. And those laws were the same message, the same basic message from day one till the day of judgment, which is believe in that one Creator, follow the prophet of your time, do what is ordained, stay away from what is wrong, and you enter heaven. My God didn't switch up the game. He didn't say, okay, Jews, you guys have to kill people and you have to shed blood and you have to do this. But Christian, you just believe in Jesus. You guys have to beat people and beat your slaves and attack, and then later on, you don't have to. To me, that's not just. My God sent the same rules. From Adam till the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon all of them, we believe in all those prophets, and my God sent the same message. Believe in the prophet of your time, believe in God, do what's good, try your best, and this is it. That is justice. My God laid down laws that are just. If you kill somebody, your life would be taken unless they forgive you, unless it was an accident, unless there is reasons, right? So that's justice. My God ordained that everybody is accountable for their own deeds. That's justice.
I would say
Let me finish, please. Let me finish. Right? We had that, right?
Yeah.
So, let's see this. If we look at you go out and you kill somebody today. You take a knife and you do it in the park and you kill somebody. And I put this young man in jail for you, even if he volunteers. That's not just, because you did the crime and he did the time. This is injustice. If you say people are born with sin, to me that's unjust. Why? Because you did something and your children and their children and their children and their children are born with sin. They are held accountable for a deed they didn't do. To me that's unjust. My God that I believe in, and that is your God, whether you believe it or not, Allah is everybody's God, right? Ordained that everybody is accountable for their own actions. So a child is born pure. You could be the son of Charles Manson or Hitler, but you're born pure because you didn't commit those deeds. You are not held accountable. When you're a little child, you're not held accountable. When you hit the age of puberty, of bulugh, when you can know right from wrong, from then on you are held accountable for only your deeds.
Okay.
That's just.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, how will your sins be paid for?
Excellent.
What besides forgiveness? So you said forgiveness, right? And you have your forgiveness and you have your good deeds. That's how you're entering. If you were to, that's how you're entering the kingdom of God.
You want me to answer?
If God is
That's
just,
the question.
That's like a judge saying, okay, you've done your good deeds, I forgive you. I know you murdered those people, but I forgive you.
Can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Excellent. So, there are two types of sins. You with me?
Okay.
One is when you take huququllah, when you take the rights of God. And one is when you take huquq al-ibad, the rights of people. Okay? So, if you kill somebody, you took somebody's right.
Okay.
Right? You took their life. Now you have to square it up with them. Right? Meaning, if in this world you're held accountable, your life is taken, you paid for your sin, then in the hereafter you're done. You paid your due. You got me? But if you sin against God, let's say you were lazy on your prayers, right? Then you can ask forgiveness from God and God can forgive you. But you will square up. That's the justice of Islam.
Forgiveness is not justice.
Did you just hear what I said?
I do.
You didn't. Let me say it again because you see what you did is you just filtered because you didn't want to hear me because you know that's just. Let me say it again. Let me just say it again. When somebody sins against another person, okay, God will not forgive them that right that they have taken without making it fair between them. Like let's say you don't go to court. In the hereafter, your deeds will be given to that person to make it fair, just. That's the justice of Allah, right? Where if you take somebody's rights,
like
you have, yes, but to the person that you violated from, okay? Then if your sin is against God, God has a right to forgive, and He forgives, and that's justice and it's mercy, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say you step on my foot, right? You hurt me, right? I have a right. I can say, hey, you hurt me, right? But I can say, you know what? I forgive you because you hurt me. I forgive you. That's justice, and it's more than justice, mercy, right? But if you slap that lady, and I say, hey, I forgive you, that would not be fair because she is the one that got harmed. But in Islam, we have that justice, where if you harm her, then she has to be paid what you owe her for harming her. But if you harm God, God can forgive you. That is the mercy of God.
So in your religion, how do you...
That made sense, didn't it?
It is.
Thank you. I just appreciate that you're honest, though. At least you said it makes sense.
I understand your way of thinking.
Excellent. You see the justice there.
I don't see the justice.
Come on. You know you do. Let's be honest.
I understand your way of thinking.
Okay.
Let me just say that.
So let me ask you, how is your God just?
Well, I just have a question.
You don't want to answer that one?
No, I do.
Right.
I definitely do.
Go ahead.
That's the whole point of my whole religion.
Excellent.
Right?
I'm here.
But I just want to, because I'm a little confused about this.
And if we destroy that whole point, are you going to become Muslim? Are you open to finding the truth, or are you just like, no, my mind's made?
My mind is made.
Yeah, but see, that's not very open-minded, right? Like, how are people going to have conversations when you're like, I don't want to hear the truth?
No, my ears are open. They're always
But
open.
you just said your mind is made. Your mind has to be open. Like, my mind is open.
Because it's convinced by God. But
No. God gives you this faculty to know right from wrong. If you're going to take one idea and say, no, I'm just going to stick to this no matter what, then your mind's not open, right? Imagine you were born in a Hindu household, then you would be like, I'm just going to stay. Like, this guy was Christian, that guy was Christian. They're Muslim today because they were open-minded enough to accept the truth. Are you that open-minded to accept the truth?
open-minded.
Excellent.
I've jumped from...
Excellent.
I didn't really grow up in a Christian household. I'm touched in like Buddhism and a whole bunch of...
But not
other
Islam.
stuff.
You've never really studied Islam. I can tell.
No, I've studied it.
Yeah.
Not to the depth that you've studied
No,
it.
not my depth. Have you read the Quran, the whole thing, cover to cover?
not. I
Yeah,
don't
so there's a good beginning. Okay, so now, do you want to explain justice in your
I just
religion?
want to ask that question.
Go ahead.
So you said if I slap the lady, right?
Yeah.
Is it the payment? So for us to be right with each other, how I have to give her something? What do I have to do?
Sure. So first thing, you slapped her, you harmed her.
Okay.
So now it's her right. You have violated her. She can take you to court. An Islamic judge would judge. She can either say, you know what, because of her, my getting slapped, I had to go to the doctor. I had to do these. You gotta, pay me these medical bills. Or she can say, I forgive you. That's between you and her. Whatever is going to make that right.
Okay.
But that's between you and her.
So if I was, let's say, I hurt my dad, I slapped him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Islamic. I just
Muslim.
okay, my bad.
The word's Muslim.
Right. Okay. I'm not Muslim.
Yeah.
And then years later, I become a Muslim, and I realize, oh, I've done terrible things.
Right.
How am I supposed to right all those wrongs? Let's say my
Excellent.
dad passed away. a long time
Great
ago.
question. So in that situation, let me give you two case scenarios, right? One is you stole some money from somebody,
Okay.
right? Let's say you saw that lady, you walked up with her with a gun, you took her money, and then later you want to repent, right? You become Muslim, right? Here, you can take that amount of money and try to find her, if she's already passed away, her family, her children, and give that back. If you're unable to, let's say it was a different city and all of that, you can take that money and give it in charity, right? You can do your part to right it. You understand what I'm saying? Let's say, now the example you gave where you slapped your dad, a little bit different, but that's your father, right? Now he's passed away, you can ask forgiveness for him, you can repent at that moment, and then on the day of judgment, it will be between you and him, okay? He can ask for some of your good deeds in lieu, but if it's your father, most likely he will forgive you, being happy that you turned a good leaf, right? So those justice will always be there between you.
And if he doesn't forgive me,
Then he takes some of your good deeds.
how can you do that?
On the day of judgment, you have scales. Okay? You have your good deeds and you have your bad deeds. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So let's say when you in your case scenario, you became Muslim, you started to go for pilgrimage and fasting and praying and giving money to the poor. So you stacked up a lot of good deeds. On the day of judgment now, let's say you were backbiting somebody, you were harming somebody. They will come and say, Ya Allah, she took my rights. Right? Allah will say, we will have to have justice here. So some of your good deeds will be given to them. If your good deeds run out, you will start taking their bad deeds. But this is justice between people. It makes sense. Come on, you know it does. You know it does. I can tell from your body language that you know it makes sense.
No, I'm just.
But you're trying to. You're like no.
No, I'm just really comfortable because I've had a lot
good.
of these conversations. I just can't wrap my mind around how
justice.
How deeds can be on a scale like.
Oh really? Wow.
Really
That's okay. So let me explain it.
Because personally, I don't believe that I've done anything good.
You've never done anything good? When you smile at somebody, you think that's something good?
I think it's beautiful, but I don't think it's.
You don't think it's a good deed, really? So if you feed a hungry person, like a homeless person, you don't think that's a good deed?
I don't think it accounts towards anything.
Wow, that's pretty sad.
I don't.
So why would people do good things?
Because it's the right thing to do.
But it doesn't account. It doesn't benefit you any.
I don't have. See?
Right. Go ahead.
That's where you
okay.
Don't
Go ahead.
understand.
Yeah.
I don't have to have a reward to
right.
do something good.
Okay, but
the same way Christ had no reward in doing and dying on the cross.
Christ. Okay. So let's go back to that because we haven't even discussed that.
Right,
okay. So first thing, let me just say this, and then I want you to explain justice because you still haven't done that yet.
Okay.
The reason people do good is for a reward. That is basic human, how Allah created humans, right? Meaning, if you were told, go to work and you're never going to get paid, I guarantee you these people wouldn't be going to work, right? If you were told you can steal all you want and nobody will arrest you, I guarantee you that most people will steal.
I agree.
Right? So this is the thing, that there is always, why did God create a heaven? That's a reward. That's a place to get to. So if there is nothing to work for, then why would there even be a heaven? Why would there be a hell to punish? You see what I'm saying? So heaven is a reward that you work for. As a Christian, from what I understood, and again, you are giving me a different answer than most Christians, that you do good deeds and you do get reward from God. You get rewarded from doing good. That's why you're encouraged to give food to the needy and help the people in need, and you will be rewarded for it. But that's interesting that you say that you won't.
No,
that's understandable.
You will be rewarded for it, but that's not why.
So there is reward.
There is reward.
Okay, so we're changing this up again now because earlier.
I was talking about.
It's okay. I just want to understand the Christian.
Right.
Because
the Christian worldview, yes, there are rewards for doing good things.
Okay, so there isn't.
But that's not the factor that gets you into heaven, which you call a good thing, right?
Okay, so we don't believe it's just good deeds. First is a belief, aqidah, and then good deeds with that. So let's go back to now your idea of justice. Go ahead.
Justice is you commit a crime.
Okay.
That crime is paid for.
By who?
Right. By who?
So that's not justice, because let me explain that. Let me just, because I want to have this conversation. Yeah. There's a guy here. Okay. I shoot him. Right. I kill him, and you arrest that lady. Right. That is not justice.
Not.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So if I shoot him, I should be held accountable because I did it.
Should.
Good.
Okay.
How's your idea of justice?
How does a Christian view work into that?
Justice. What is justice according to your God?
Let's
that was
an example.
Okay.
I go and
I'm sorry, were you explaining justice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So let's say I'm on the street, I'm driving.
Okay.
I get a speeding ticket.
Yes.
I go to court. They say, I know you're young. Look, we're not going to punish you. I'm going to give you mercy. This guy's going to offer to pay for your ticket.
Okay.
You're free to go because it's paid for.
Okay.
Justice was still met because it's paid for.
Okay.
And even in your religion, you would say that's the second type of sin, right? Where you sin against, I guess that would be the government, and then it has to be paid for with money, right?
Okay.
So it's good. It's equal. You're fine.
I'm just listening. So.
Right. That's the Christian view.
Okay, let me explain that now, okay? In the example you gave, nobody was harmed.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So let's take a better example. Let's say you're driving.
But a law was broken.
Sure.
Right.
And as I said, when you break the laws of God, God can forgive you. That's perfectly fine. Nobody even has to pay for it. God can just forgive. God is forgiving. A court in America can just forgive your speeding. Many times you go to court and they say you're young, you have no violations, I'm going to write it off. Makes sense. Just, no problem. let's say another example, you got drunk, even though you're 18, right? And you were driving drunk and you hit somebody and you killed a child in that car.
Okay.
Now you go to court. Go ahead. How's your justice work in your religion?
On the scale of the government?
No. In your religion, your concept of justice, because you gave that example of driving
Right, I'm using
and
the
a court.
government, so
Yeah, no. Don't switch up your example now. So we exact same example. The scenario now is you killed a child being drunk driving. How does the judge in your religion carry out justice?
okay. The judge will send that person to jail for a murder sentence.
Excellent. That's Islam. That's not Christianity. Because in you, no. You know, you've just switched it up. Your example was that Jesus would pay for your sins. And in that example, if you say that you got drunk, got behind the wheel, hit somebody, killed a child, went to court, and the judge says, you're 18, I'm going to put that guy in jail for you, that is not justice, that is not mercy, that is not fair.
What is mercy?
To kill. I mean, come on.
What is mercy?
Okay,
No,
let me explain mercy now, okay?
Okay.
Allah is the most merciful. That's why his names are Ar-Rahman wal-Rahim. In the beginning, when we begin in the Quran, do you know what that is?
No.
And see, you haven't studied Islam. I mean, you may think you have, but you haven't. This is just very basic stuff, right? I would love for you to, because I can tell that you know it's the truth, but you see this. Let me explain this. You see this twitching right here? I study psychology. You see this twitching? That means you're not comfortable. That means you realize.
No, I'm very comfortable.
Look. This is giving it away. I know Faraz. Trust me, right?
I could say the same thing about you. When
Am I
people
twitching?
say-
Am
when
I
people
nervous?
ramble on,
Right.
it's because
Am I
they're trying to
rambling?
fill words so that
Not
I
rambling
can-
at all. Okay.
I would
So
personally say you
now.
are because you bring up the same points.
It's not the same point. You brought up an example, and I gave you a different example. What's up, bro? How you doing? Long time, man.
I got my own camera this time.
Nice. How you doing? All right. So let's go back to that, okay? Now, if you take a car and you slam into somebody, you will, according to your own example now, justice is that you will be held accountable, not a third person, okay? So for you to say that God killed Jesus for the murders and things that we commit would then not fit your own example of justice.
My example.
You guys hear any time?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
You guys get
People that were like this. I hope to see
Been all right, man?
I have, man. How you been? Oh, it's always fun, bro.
More without you guys.
Oh, man, where you at? I've been here.
Working.
Working? All right. Well,
Last time I was up here was like a month.
I'm glad you're here today, man. You off today?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Go ahead.
What you guys talking about?
about justice and mercy.
Justice and mercy. So go ahead.
Okay, my example was to show that justice means that the sin or the crime needs to be paid for.
Okay.
That's my definition of justice.
But then in the same example that you gave, when we talked about you hurting that child, you didn't say just somebody going to jail is enough. You said that person has to be held accountable.
Right.
So it didn't work with your concept of justice.
Because earthly government and earthly justice is
But
different
see,
than God's.
Again, so you gave an example
Right.
of earthly justice,
Okay.
and then when it came to a different example, it didn't work. So you got to take one or the other, right?
So let me just explain God's justice.
Okay,
I'm
go ahead.
Christian.
Go ahead.
God's justice is you and I have sinned.
Okay.
We've done everything. We've blasphemed God. We've hurt our neighbors. We have not been good at all. Even,
Okay.
He says even our good deeds are like dirty rags. Because people have bad intentions.
Okay.
Right? People do it for themselves instead of doing it for God.
Mhm.
So God says, when you die, you will be held accountable.
Okay.
You're going to heaven or hell. Hell is to pay for your sins.
Okay.
He sent his son. He came down and humbled himself to pay for
Himself or his son?
his son.
But you said God was
Right?
Jesus.
Because you believe in the Trinity, and I know you know that.
No. And again, different Christians give me different answers. So I just want to be clear, because I have had Christians here tell me that he's the Son, but he's not God himself. And the other Christian said, no, he is God. His Son is just a main way of showing 3 in 1. So I'm trying to understand. So God himself came down to earth, and humans killed him and crucified him, and that will get us to heaven. Wow, that does not work in my mind.
What will get you to heaven
is killing God.
is accepting the sacrifice that God has provided.
No, but don't you think killing God was a sin?
Without a sacrifice, you can't get into heaven.
Why not?
Because,
Who made that law?
Because God will be
Who,
unjust.
no, that is not justice. Just like the court that you gave the example where the court guy just wrote off your ticket, God is forgiving. He doesn't have to kill somebody. That is a very unjust, unmerciful. Right? But why couldn't he just write it off? He's the God. You sinned against him. That is just. No, that is right.
If I was a judge and
somebody was murdered.
you murdered
Excellent.
somebody, and
Yes.
I said, you're free to go. I
Excellent.
forgive you. That's
Excellent.
not justice.
I agree with you, because you murdered somebody. So here, the murderer would be held accountable. If God said, so you killed somebody, but I'll tell you what, here's my son, kill him, and then we're even, that's not justice.
It is.
You think that, okay, let me just get this clear. If you go to court, you murder somebody, and the judge says, if you kill my son, now we're even, Stephen, you think that's justice? Wow,
Yes.
that is insane. I'm sorry. You know that doesn't make sense,
It
right?
does make a lot of sense.
The judge's son gets murdered, an innocent son, and that makes up for the other, and the murderer goes free because this child has been killed.
You know what I think?
That doesn't make sense.
You cannot
That doesn't make sense. That's unjust.
You cannot possibly comprehend God's sacrifice and God's mercy.
I appreciate your time, and you want a Quran? Do you have one?
I have one at home.
You have one? Have you read it?
I've read parts of it, and
What's the first chapter?
I honestly,
All right, so can you do this for yourself? Go home and read it. And with an open mind and open heart, read it. See the justice, the mercy, the love that's in the Quran, and then come back and talk to me when you've read it. I've read the Bible. You read the Quran, and we'll discuss. Good?
okay. I mean, I'm
Come
willing
on.
to come back, and
Okay.
I'm willing to study.
Okay.
But I'm telling you,
With an open mind.
okay, so never mind. Let me ask you this: does somebody have to have the Quran to become a Muslim?
What do you mean?
Do I have to? Let's say I was in a land that had Islam never touched, right?
Okay. Then we have the concept of fitra, which is your original state of recognizing your creator. So if you still worship that one God because the message never reached you, you're fine, right? But if the message reached you like it has reached you,
Right.
then it's upon you to now at least read it and see if it's the truth or not.
Okay.
So if you want one, I'll give you one. If you have one, read it. Just read it with an open mind. And what's the worst that can happen? You'll find the truth, right? So come back and we'll discuss.
All right. I still don't see your God as justice.
Come on, you know you
I
do.
don't.
You know that if you go to court and you kill the judge's son, that's just a second murder now.
You just-
That does not make
can
it.
you
That
not-
does not make it
can
even.
You
You
not see God's mercy in that?
no,
Can't.
no,
Well, you
not
can
at
see
all.
you can see God's mercy in you killing someone, and then how would that work in Islam?
Okay.
If you killed
Go
someone
ahead.
and they're
You're
dead,
held accountable for your deeds.
okay.
So you killed somebody, you pay the price,
Okay.
right?
How have you paid the price?
Sure,
Let's
let me
say-
tell you.
Let's say you're not in a place with the government. How
Okay.
have you paid the price?
Excellent. If you get away with it in this world, you will pay for it in the hereafter.
Okay.
And I explained that to you already. I'm not rambling. You're asking me the same question again. So
by moving something to another scale,
no. Yes. So now what happened is you need.
how is that justice?
Let me explain it. Okay? On the day of judgment, that person that was murdered, right, needs to go to heaven. That's his or her goal, right? And you need that belief and those deeds. Now, this person took your right to live your life. They have to pay you back. They will give you their deeds. Now you get to heaven. You made it. You have been paid back. And that person will either, depending on what he has left, he will not make it. So he'll be punished for the sin that he did. That's justice in hell.
Okay. So let's say I was a murderer all my life, but
Okay.
I do good things. I give out food to hungry people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I do that so much it builds up to the amount of to even those scales, right?
So again, that case scenario doesn't really work like that, right? Because it's not just about how much you do, right? It's how sincere you were. If you were murdering,
What
and
if I
then
was really sincere about
right.
being
So now here, because you took somebody's deeds, now the justice will be by Allah between you two. How far scales and how justice and who will make it where, that's between Allah and them, right? The justice system is there. Now, how many good deeds did you do and how many violations did you do? That's for Allah to judge on the Day of Judgment. Okay? You know that's just. You know it makes sense. You know killing the court, judge's son would just be a second murder. It would be another injustice. It's an innocent person. You know that doesn't make
It's not
sense.
a murder, it's a laying down.
It's a murder.
It's a laying
You
down.
kill. So,
He
okay.
said he laid down his
So
life
why was he saying,
willingly.
God,
It's
why
a
have you forsaken me?
sacrifice. It's a
Okay,
sacrifice.
why was he saying, God,
Because
you've forsaken
in
me?
that moment, the son and the father were disconnected.
So they're not the same.
No, they are the same. That's why.
Okay.
If they weren't the same, then why would that even exist? Why would he say, "Why have you forsaken me?" If they weren't the same, if they weren't connected.
No. Let me. So let's say his car breaks down and he calls me to help him, and I'm like, I'm busy, bro. I'm not gonna help you. He can say, why you forsaken me? Doesn't mean we're one. It means he was depending on me and I let him down.
Okay.
Right?
That's
So
your
you're saying
interpretation.
forsaken is, have you looked up the word's meaning? Look it up when you go home. Yeah?
Okay,
So
well,
that's what it
the
means, right?
original-
Forsake somebody, to let them down, not help them in the time of need. Okay. So here, it doesn't make sense. If somebody is laying down their life, then they know they're going to be killed. They're not being forsaken. They know, hey, I'm here to do this. Yeah?
Do you think Jesus said those words?
No,
Then how can you use it against your argument?
I'm not using it against my argument. You're telling me from the Bible that that's what you believe. So I'm asking you, according to your belief, your own Bible doesn't mesh with what you're saying.
Well, what about it?
I already explained it, right? It's not rambling. Yeah. Let me say it again now. Okay. So, if you are telling me, according to your belief, Jesus came to earth with the mission of being killed. He's suicide, right?
Sacrifice.
Okay.
He laid down his.
Okay.
Have you heard the scripture? No greater thing than to lay your life down.
Sure. So he's doing it willingly. He knows he's going to do it, right? So in that sense, then nobody's forsaken him. He should be on the cross going, this is what's supposed to happen. He wouldn't be saying, my God, why have you forsaken me? Because that was the plan. If you're saying that's the words of Jesus according to your Bible, then that doesn't match what you're saying, that it was a self-sacrifice.
Him saying, "Why have you forsaken me?" Him going to lay down his life.
Let me explain this a third time. Let's say you tell me that if a car comes, I'm going to jump in front of it to save your life. That's your plan. That if a car jumps that curve and comes at me, you're going to jump in front of me. Right? That's your mission. That's your job. That's what you want to do. That's what you chose. Now a car comes and you jump and then you're like, why am I in front of this? Why did you put me here? That doesn't make sense. Because exactly. So if Jesus came to earth with the plan of being sacrificed, then he wouldn't say, God, you've forsaken me, because that was the plan.
But when he was saying that, he wasn't referring to the sacrifice. That's where you're confused.
What was he referring to?
He was referring to the separation.
So when
For
Jesus
the
was
first
on
time-
earth,
for the first time in eternity, he was separated from his Father.
where did you get that from? That's not in Scripture, is it? Let's look at it. Show me where you got that interpretation,
Let
right?
this cut past for me. He was not talking about the sacrifice. You think
Okay.
he means anything to Jesus if you really believe he is the Son of God?
I don't, so.
No, I'm saying if we as Christians believe in that, do you think that we would really think that dying on a cross would be anything to him? No, because he's God. Why would that matter?
But that, see, again, that makes no sense to me, because how can God be killed? That doesn't make sense to me. How can God be punished and tortured by human beings and put up on a cross and killed?
Because he was
Like,
called the Son of Man, and
so is he the Son of Man or is he the Son of God? What does that mean?
that means that he was man, he was fully man and fully God.
What does that mean? No, hold on. You're saying things that make absolutely no sense. If you are a man, you have certain shortcomings that God cannot have. And if you're God, you have certain qualities man cannot have.
Are
Right?
you saying it's impossible for God to humble himself and bring it down?
Okay.
You think,
Oh,
so
let
you're
me-
saying
let me
something's
explain it.
impossible for God.
Oh, we're gonna go there. I got you. Don't worry. You think you're the first one that brought this? You did an atheist. Atheists bring this all the time.
Okay.
Let me say this. Certain things are against the honor of it.
The nature.
The nature, honor. Let me explain it. Okay. So if you are a brick, if something is a brick, it is impossible for it to be water unless it leaves being a brick. You understand? Because that is a quality. If you're tall, right, then this is you're tall in comparison, right? Now, if you say he is tall and short, either your comparison has changed or the person has left that, right? So God is above human shortcomings.
Right.
You understand? So if you say God is lying, God is cheating, God is raping, we would say it's impossible, because it's not that we're saying God can't, because then you'd be like, oh, you're saying it, right? But we say it's against his nature. So
I agree.
human shortcomings are against the nature of our Creator. So humans getting angry without right? Oh no, again, getting frustrated and saying, "Why have you forsaken me?" That's a human short. That's a shortcoming, right? God, do you think God gets frustrated?
I do.
Really?
Yes.
Where did you get that? Show me in the Bible.
Where do I?
God, not the Father.
When he
Okay.
in the
Go ahead.
Old Testament,
Mhm.
when he's basically yelling at Israel, saying,
Okay.
"You've made my people, you basically adultery."
So when you get frustrated,
when they worship idols,
Okay.
you think God was not frustrated?
I don't think. I
God's
think
not
he was.
frustrated with you.
No, I don't think
You
he's
don't think God's
frustrated.
been
Let me explain the difference. When you're frustrated, it clouds your judgment, right? I believe God's judgment is never clouded. It's always just.
According to what definition? Does
Frustration. Look it up when you go home. Look up what frustration is and what are the psychological impacts of frustration. Look it up. I mean, learn. Like, have you taken psychology? Are you in college? Okay.
I'm graduating high school.
Okay. So when you get to psych and you learn psychology and you learn definitions, look up what does it mean to be frustrated and how does frustration affect a person, right? I don't believe God gets frustrated. There is the anger of God, but that is also just. It's never clouded, right? Okay, good. So I don't believe God goes to the bathroom. I don't believe God can be beaten up by people. I don't believe God, because that's against the nature of God.
That's a shortcoming. Can God not define nature?
Let me explain it, okay? God has his own nature,
I do agree.
okay? So in his nature, he is all-knowing, right?
Sorry.
In the nature of God, he's all-knowing.
Yes.
Is that correct? He knows everything. He's all-able. He can do anything. He's all-powerful. Are we in agreement here? So to me, a God who is all-powerful, all-knowing, all-able cannot be tricked. Satan cannot tempt him like we see in the Bible with Jesus, right? And you cannot have people that will be beating him and thieves having conversations with him, and he's out there saying, "Why have you forsaken me?" To me, that's a human attribute, not a godly aspect.
I completely agree with you.
Okay, good. So then Jesus was
But it doesn't
human.
contradict-
It does,
doesn't-
because you said he was God.
Because God is God. So people.
Okay,
so
I
if
got
he
that
can-
part.
It's the part that you're missing is that it's humility. It takes humility to lower your standard to say, I'm gonna walk here. I'm gonna ride on a donkey. I'm not gonna ride in on a horse.
Sure.
I'm not gonna come with my sword yet. I'm coming humbly for my people.
Okay.
What you said, that shortcomings contradict God's nature.
Okay.
Where you're getting that from God's nature, right? Because God, but you're saying God's nature means he can't get beaten by someone.
Yes.
Why? If he wants
Let me
to get beaten
explain
by
it.
someone, why
Excellent.
would that define
Excellent. Let me explain. Okay. God is all powerful, right? Is that right? And all able, right? So when you are all powerful, all able, then for somebody, it's humans to come and put you up on a cross and torture you and kill you is against your nature, because your nature is that of honor. You see what I'm saying or no?
That's the beautiful-
Like
that's
no,
the
but
beautiful
it's
thing
not.
about-
Let me just finish, right?
Okay.
Let me give you an example. Let's say you're walking with your husband, okay? And your husband's a strong young man, right? And somebody comes and tries to rape you, right? And your husband doesn't defend you, right? You would be pissed. You would be upset, right? you would say, why didn't you defend me? And if he said, well, I decided we're going to humble ourselves and let him rape you, you would say, no, that's not a manly attitude. That's not an honorable attitude. You, being physically able, should have stopped injustice. Is that right or wrong?
Yes, I agree.
Excellent. So God having the ability for people not to do injustice to him, and then not doing what he could to defend himself, is not just, it's not honorable, it's not godly.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
If I were to come up to you and slap you, what would you do?
I would stop you.
You would stop me?
Yes.
Would you hurt me?
If you can continue to attack me, yes.
Okay.
If I slapped you, what would you do? But I might really do it if you say it.
Okay,
So think it through.
I would turn the other cheek, in all honesty.
To be very honest with you, and I'm not going to do it just because, but I guarantee you that after a few slaps, not only would you not turn the other cheek, you would either call the police, or you would try to get one of these guys to stop me. Let's be honest. This is hypocrisy.
In all honesty,
This is the hypocrisy I don't like.
I would go in the other direction.
Exactly.
But I would not try to harm you.
Okay.
But you know
So
why?
let me continue
You know
that
why
scenario.
Christ-
Let's be honest. This is the problem with hypocrisy, right?
Okay.
Let's say you're home alone.
But you
No, let me-
questioning my honesty.
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
not-
just asking for honesty. I'm not questioning your honesty,
You are,
right?
though.
Okay. So let's give you a case scenario, right? You're home alone. Some dude, that guy breaks in, right? And he slaps you, right? And you try to run and he grabs you, and you can't run. What are you gonna do?
I would fight back.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's
You would
a
not
different-
turn the other cheek.
that's
No,
definitely a different
that's the
scenario.
whole point. You would fight back.
Okay.
That's honest. This is why I appreciate the honesty. Because this is from your right that he's unjustly violating you, that you should not turn the other cheek. Because if you did turn the other cheek, he will continue to rape you. And you know that.
Here's my question. You say that because God has power, he cannot be being up by Satan.
Again, that's not what I said.
You said he's all-powerful.
Let me say it again because
said
you're
he
not
goes
listening.
against his
Let
nature.
me explain it. Let me explain it. You missed it, so let me explain it. It is the honor of God. Do you understand? Just like you want to defend your honor, and you're only a human, God is more honorable than us. So for God, for you to say that God came to earth and he had to go to the bathroom, and he got hungry, and he got thirsty, and he got sleepy and slept, and then he got beat up by a bunch of guys and got put on the cross, that is against the nature.
God is dishonored every single day.
No. Again, this is where you don't understand the
His
honor of
nature
God.
doesn't change the
let me-
ability
let
of
me-
humans to sin
Let me
against him.
explain. Okay. Every day, do you think we beat up God physically?
No.
We do not. Every day, if we disrespect God, like somebody as an atheist, they curse God, do you think God will let that go? No, they will be held accountable. The honor of God will be brought to justice.
Right.
Thank you. That's the whole point. So if you say
So don't you
humans killed God, then humans should be held accountable for that sin.
and they may be.
Okay, so now we're changing things up a little bit.
No,
So they will be.
If they do not,
So the sacrifice of Christ will bring people to be held accountable. That's what you just
the
said.
sacrifice of Christ,
That people will be held accountable
the
for it.
people that crucified Christ
Ah,
will be held accountable
that's
if they do not
interesting.
accept the sacrifice.
That's interesting. Okay, so that means
But
it
let me
is
go
a.
back to your point. The nature of God, Him being all powerful, does not cancel out the people's ability to crucify. Him being
Okay.
crucified, if He chose, let's say I was a king, right? Or a queen. I have a lot of power. I can do whatever I want. Let's say people were coming to kill me. Could I not tell my army, hey, keep them out?
Let him kill me.
I could say, let
Right?
them kill me.
Would that make sense? It wouldn't, right?
To you, it doesn't.
To you, does it make sense?
No,
To
it
be
makes
honest.
perfect
Okay.
sense.
So let's just take your case scenario. Let's say Biden tomorrow, the president of the United States.
The mission is different in both.
No, but you gave a king scenario, so let's take that scenario. There's a king. Let's use your scenario. There's a king, okay, and he's going, and somebody comes to try to attack him, right? And he tells his armies, hey, you guys back up, let him kill me. And they kill him. Would you say that's a wise king?
But
Thank
he
you.
doesn't have the
Thank
same
you.
mission as
Thank
God
you.
in mind.
Thank you. Look,
You know
go
what?
home, read the
I
Quran,
will.
come back. We're going in a loop, you know?
But let me say, he doesn't have
Okay.
the same God's mission.
Okay.
God understands that humans would think like that. He goes, what God in his right mind
Right?
would send himself, humble himself, go through suffering, pain.
Is that confusing?
Spat on, have a crown of thorns twisted on his head.
Right.
Let me tell you who, a God who is gracious enough to take your place, because in
Why?
all honesty, you deserve everything that happened to Christ.
Okay.
So do I, and so does everybody else here.
I don't think I do, but okay.
Okay.
Right? But what I'm saying is, if that's the God you believe in, then you don't believe in mercy at all. Let me explain it. That God, for the sins that we do against God, He could have just forgiven me. He wouldn't kill His own Son. That makes no sense to me, and it's not merciful, and it's not just. Okay? That God, for the sins that we do to each other, if you kill me and Jesus takes the blame, then that to me is not just, because now you violated me, but you're not held accountable for it.
But somebody was.
Again, we're going this loop again because that somebody didn't do it. So that's not just. It's not just. No, I have, but the problem is it's unjust, and you don't want to admit it.
And it's unjust.
Like, I don't know.
It's unjust for you to enter God's kingdom because
Why not?
You have a balanced scale.
Why not? Why is that unjust? That makes oh, come on. That makes absolutely no sense in you. If you have to
Because
go
if I
somewhere.
went to God and said, "Look, God, I know, I go to a park and harass people every day, but look, I have all these good things that I've done, and I know you value that, Lord. So
Okay.
let me into your kingdom." He's gonna go, "I don't care that you've done
He
any
is?
of those good things."
Where did you get this stuff from? You're just making up the scenario from your own mind, right? Right? Go ahead.
Would a just God, would a just judge, if I was a judge, and you came in and you say, "I robbed a bank, but I feed the homeless every Sunday, and
Excellent.
I'll massage your feet or whatever you want." And
Massage your feet. That's kind of weird. Nobody massages judge's feet, right?
And the judge goes, "Okay, that sounds perfect for me, and you can be let off." That's
So let
not just.
me give you that example. The same example you used, okay? You come in, you say, "I robbed a bank, but I'm really sorry. I wanna pay back." And I tell the bank owner, "Hey, it was your bank. He robbed it. He's willing to return the money to you. He's gonna make it right. The one who did it, he's gonna make it right. Not somebody else gonna take the money. He's gonna return it to you, and he will come and clean your bank or work with you and try to help you develop a bank system that can't be robbed." And he says, "Okay, great. Justice." But what you're saying is that the judge instead says, "Hey, you third guy, my son, who's a good, innocent, good kid, you come here and go to jail for his robbing the bank, and you're free to go." That makes absolutely no sense. And you know it doesn't. You know it doesn't. In your heart, you know it doesn't.
No, I do. I'm sorry.
All right.
You can say that.
Thank you, and have a good day. I mean, read the Quran. Like, you haven't read it. I've read the Bible, as you can see. Read the Quran with open mind. Like, I read the Bible with open mind, right? And I'm Muslim. He's Christian. He was a Jehovah's Witness before. I mean, he's...
Which explains why he's here now.
Why?
Because Jehovah's Witnesses teach heresy.
Really?
That's why.
Okay. So why don't you talk to the Jehovah's... Okay, listen. Why don't you go and talk to Jehovah's Witnesses and tell them what they're doing is heresy?
I will.
Okay,
have.
cool.
I have a bunch of
All right. So he used to be Christian, not Jehovah's Witness, and he's Muslim today.
Right.
Does that make sense as well? Or?
No, I'm just saying. I understand why
No,
you
look.
think it's fair.
These people, his father was a Christian. These people had an open heart. They read the Bible. They read the Quran. They're Muslims today. All I'm asking, name one that you personally know.
Yes, I have neighbors.
All right. Were they Muslim, or were they?
That's the same thing. Were you Christian?
No.
Were you Christian?
He was a very practicing Christian, and so was he. And he's better versed in the Bible.
What does practicing mean?
Sure, he knows the Bible well.
If I
right?
pray, am I now a Christian? I pray?
Well, I don't know. What is a practicing Christian to you then? To me, somebody who believes in the dogma, carries out the actions to the best of their ability, is a practicing Muslim. Somebody who, excellent. Somebody who believes in Allah, believes in the Quran, believes in the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and what is ordained there, and tries their best to fulfill the commandments. That's a Muslim. Now, you know that more people are leaving Christianity and becoming Muslim than the other way,
I can
right?
tell you why.
Why?
Because Jesus says the path is narrow and very few.
But Christianity is currently the largest religion in the world, right?
Yeah, and you said
So,
many
very
people,
few.
Many people are going. Do you think there's more true Christians in the world, or true atheists, or non-believers?
I don't know the difference between those two ways, because I think both of those can't be true anything, because if you really studied both of those dogmas, you wouldn't stay
I know,
on
and
it.
I'd say the same thing, so I don't
Okay.
want to
So, but the thing is, the difference is, I've read the Bible and you haven't read the Quran all the way through. So why don't we even that out and then continue? How's that?
Have you read the other texts, the other religious books?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
So you read the Book of Mormon?
I have studied it. Yes, I have. See, you were assuming that I was going to say I haven't,
No, I'm
but I
not
actually
sure.
have.
I'm actually-
I've actually studied the Book of Mormon. My neighbors are Mormons. I have conversations with them all the time. I went to a Mormon study group, not into their church because they wouldn't allow me because I wasn't Mormon, but I went to a study group and went through the whole tenets. I understand their belief system. I studied the works of Dr. Suzuki, who's a writer in Buddhism. I went to a Buddhist temple, studied Buddhism. I went to Hindu scriptures. I studied the Gita. I went to the Jehovah's Witnesses, to the Kingdom Halls, studied their dogmas. I went to Beth El and studied Judaism. So before you assume, trust me, I've been through this, right? And I chose Islam because the only truth. I know that offends you,
It doesn't.
but you can say it doesn't, but
offend me. It might offend
okay.
God.
It doesn't because God revealed the Quran, so God's good with this, right?
And I can
But
say God revealed the Bible.
it didn't because it's not the words of God. These are accounts of people. It is. The Quran is the words of God.
It's the words of Muhammad.
It is not. See, you have not studied Islam at all. The Quran refers, he speaks to the Prophet Muhammad in it.
About the Prophet Muhammad. Then who wrote
No,
the
no.
Quran?
Let me. So see, this is why I think you haven't studied the Quran, right? Let me tell you now, okay? The Quran is never from the perspective of the Prophet Muhammad. If you actually read the Quran sometimes censures the Prophet.
About
It
his
says,
life.
no, it's not about his life. Again, you have not read the Quran at all. It's not a book of seerah. It's not about the life of the Prophet. What have you read from the Quran?
Why is there a chapter called Miriam?
No. Hold on. So let me explain because obviously, look, let me
I
tell
haven't
you.
gotten an answer.
I will give you an answer, okay? The Quran is not the words of the Prophet Muhammad. It is not from the perspective of the Prophet Muhammad. It is the words of Allah. Even when it speaks to the Prophet Muhammad, it says, "Qul," say, Muhammad. Can I finish? Can I finish? See, this is rude. Like you're interrupting me, even though I listen to you, right? So the Quran is the words of Allah that was revealed, right? Meaning the Prophet Muhammad got revelation from Gabriel. Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, came to the Prophet Muhammad and revealed. The Prophet Muhammad couldn't read or write. He couldn't read earlier scriptures. He didn't know any of that, right? He would then recite the words of Allah, not his words. There is a difference between Hadith and Quran. Hadith are the words of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Okay? You know what that is now? Hadith. Quran is the words of Allah. I'm getting to your Quran, who wrote it down, right? When the Prophet would recite it, the companions around him would memorize. Not 40 years later, not 70 years, not 400 years, not 600 years. Right there, they wrote down, the scribes wrote it down and memorized the entire thing.
From the words of Muhammad.
From the words of Allah revealed to the Prophet Muhammad.
So Allah told Muhammad, Muhammad told the scribes.
Yes.
So the words came from Allah. From
Yes,
Muhammad.
the words of
Okay.
Allah
So that's
revealed.
okay.
Difference.
I can say the same thing about God to Moses.
Okay.
But who would I say? And let's say
Okay.
Moses told scribes.
Okay.
I would still say
So
Moses wrote it in the
here,
figure of speech.
excellent. So here, when you say this is the words of God,
Yes.
okay. So the genealogy of Jesus, according to the words of God, Jesus himself began his ministry at about 30 years of age as being the supposed son of Joseph, the son of Heli, right? There's the words of God you're saying.
Yes.
So who's Joseph's father?
I've already seen this.
Who is it? I'm asking you.
Oh, I've already been through this with another.
Okay, but who is it?
It says
Uh-huh.
the son of Joseph, the son of Heli. Okay.
So who is Joseph's father?
Heli.
Heli.
And I know you're
Please.
gonna go to the other one.
Sure.
That's because Joseph
Uh-huh.
had
So let's just go through it
I
first.
know you're gonna go through.
That's
the
okay. Can we just go through it if you don't
Point
mind?
out another name.
And Jacob begotten Joseph, the husband of Mary. So who begotten Joseph here?
And Jacob begot Joseph. Yeah.
So who's the father of Joseph?
If you did any amount
I
of
did, but go
historical
ahead.
research,
Uh-huh.
you would see that it's because of
Uh-huh.
I
Because
wrote-
you're Googling it now.
no, I'm not Googling.
Oh,
I'm
you're looking
for
up.
a conversation that I had with
Okay.
another Muslim.
So you don't know it right now.
I don't know it off the top of my
Okay.
head,
Look it up.
but
Go ahead.
something
So
about
who?
something about
Something. Yeah. Go ahead.
that was his brother.
His brother? Joseph had a brother that
No,
was
not
begotten?
Joseph. Heli. So his
Okay.
father died at a young age. In that culture, you would
Uh-huh.
just adopt the son of your brother.
Just
Yeah.
making that up, by the way.
I'm not.
It's no historic. I researched it. There is no historic context for that. And here it says begotten, and the son. It can't be for son-in-laws. It can't be for adopted sons because you're saying son. If you're saying that the word two in Greek, and I studied it in Greek, just interesting that you assumed that I hadn't, right? But here you have begotten all the way through, right? So this is begotten, son. It can't be somebody else's. And in Luke, you have son, which is the word in Greek is two, all the way through. So if you're saying two is referring, go ahead, the son of.
The son of Eli. Okay.
So are these all stepfathers then? Because the same word.
No.
Uh-huh.
So you said this word is two?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me bring you to the Greek word, not the English two.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
So let me show you the Greek of it. Sorry, I got some stains on it. Begotten, ingenisen.
Okay.
Okay? So all the way through, they're sons. They're not stepsons. They're not adopted sons. It's the same word. Okay? And because it says the husband of Mary, some Christians try to say, no, it's about Mary. It's about Joseph. Okay? Now, if you look in Luke, and this is the Greek English, you have cho, right? Which means from, or to be like ila, attributed from, coming from, and that is what we take as son throughout the whole genealogy. If you say that doesn't mean son, it means adopted, then Adam was an adopted son of God, Seth was an adopted son.
I'm saying he referred to him as his son because he took
Right.
him in like his
So-
son.
so-
and the other one was begot, like he
Excellent.
actually was part of the relationship.
Excellent. So if you're saying that's true, then the same word throughout genealogy is used
No, I'm
throughout
saying you
it.
can use an implication.
So can you bring me historic context for that then?
If I looked, I think I could.
I looked that up already.
But let me
Spend months on this issue.
let me ask you.
Let me
this.
just
If I
finish.
were to
Go
say,
ahead.
if I were to say, this is because I have a half sister, right? If I
Okay,
said, this is my sister.
Excellent.
I introduced you as my sister. If I pick my full sister and I say, this is my sister, would you assume, but that's your half sister, so she
Sure.
must be your half sister too?
Excellent.
No. they're
Excellent.
both
So
my
let me
sisters.
explain it now.
That's the way I'm using the
Sure.
word.
Let me answer you, okay? If you tell me this is my sister and this is my sister, I will take you on face value that these are both your sisters. Okay? Then if somebody comes and says, no, this is a half sister, you would then provide a clarification. Okay? So here, because the same word is used throughout the lineage, throughout the whole way, the same word is used, then we have to take it at face value. If you have historic context, bring it to me. Okay? But since I've already looked this up, do you want me to help you or you want to go it on your own?
No, I'll go do it.
All right, great.
Because I
So while you're looking it up, let me give you another one to show you this is not the words of God. Okay? The death of Judas. Have you already looked at this one?
The death of who?
Judas. How did Judas die?
Hanging.
Hanging? Okay. So this is Acts 1:18. Now this man purchased a field with the wages of iniquity, and falling headlong, he burst open his middle, and his entrails gushed out.
Okay.
So I thought you said he hung himself.
And I've seen this before too.
Okay, so what is it?
I mean, like I said, I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm not a theologian.
Okay.
But here, can I take a picture of that?
Sure, please.
Go back later and study.
Do you want me to show you the verse about hanging now?
No, I can find that one.
Okay, good. Do you want the two genealogies?
No, I know those.
Okay, let me ask you one more since you're going to be looking this up anyway. Isaiah was 22 years old when he became king. You wrote this one already? Excellent.
Every Muslim that I talk to brings up the same.
Excellent. Did you have an answer?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So he was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Athaliah, granddaughter of Omri, the king of Israel. All right? So since you've already looked it up, I'm sure you already know the second verse. What's his age in the second verse? Do you know?
It's different, yeah. I do have to, like I said,
Isaiah was 42 years old when he became king,
Right.
and reigned 1 year in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Athaliah, granddaughter of Omri. So one is 22, one is 42, and you've already run into this because you said every Muslim brings it up. So what's the answer?
I can't give it to you off the top of my head.
Gotcha.
Because, like I said,
But when every Muslim brought it up, did you not give them an answer?
no, I did.
Okay.
But I have to
So
go
you forgot
study
it now.
Yeah,
All right.
it's been a while.
No problem.
I don't.
Look it up.
I don't usually like go out to.
No, I'm good. But I'm glad you're here talking to us, right? Go home, look it up. I'm here every Sunday. Come back.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And I appreciate that you will actually read the Quran with an open mind, right?
Yes, I will.
Are you sure?
I will.
Open mind.
I have very limited time.
Excellent. Well, I mean, salvation is pretty important, so you got to make time.
That's what I'm saying. We all have a limited
That's why I studied the Bible, and the Hindu text, and the Buddhist text, and the Jehovah's Witness text, and the Book of Mormon, and Jewish writings, and the Talmud, and the works of different rabbis, and then I chose the Quran. So what I'm saying is, put in that effort, because salvation is important. Your hereafter is important. But for you to take one and go, no, I'm just going to close my mind, I've already got everything made up, then you're never going to learn. You're never going to, like it's like I try some ice cream, I'm like, this is the best, my favorite ice cream. You never tried it. When you try everything, then you can say, that's my favorite. But if you're like, I will never try any ice cream, this is the best, your statement doesn't hold water. Because you don't know the Quran. You thought the Quran was about the life of the Prophet Muhammad? You have not studied the Quran. And again, I'm saying that with respect and love. What I'm saying is, open the Quran with an open heart. Don't think, how can I find faults in this? No, open your heart, pray to God, the one God, the Creator, the God of Jesus, the God of Moses.
That's what you've done with this Bible.
I haven't, because
Because the way that this is marked, respectfully, is to point out its flaws.
It's not. Let me explain it now. See, again, you made an assumption without knowing. Right? Now,
I made an assumption out of what I
out of
noticed.
ignorance.
No,
Let me tell you.
I made an assumption.
Now let me tell you what I did this. Let me tell you why.
But you just made an assumption about me.
Okay.
My assumption came from what you have shown me, because that Bible is highlighted with things that you say, this is I see a fault here, I see a fault here. So you read it to point out its faults. Maybe you read it before and then later you go, oh, this is wrong, so you point out its faults.
That's still not true. And I didn't make an assumption because you don't know what I did. So it is out of ignorance of my actions. That is true, right? Is that true or not? Or do you know why I did this?
Why
Were you
marked
present
it?
when
Why
I
you
marked?
it
Yeah.
like that?
You don't know. You're assuming.
I'm assuming by the way that
Exactly.
you're using it.
But instead of asking me.
By the way you're using it.
Okay, so let me tell you now.
Okay.
Now I will give you the reason why I actually did it, and then your ignorance will go away, right? I studied the Bible. I did not mark these to argue or to debate. I've had this Bible since the 90s. This was my study Bible at a Christian group. And I marked texts that I wanted to ask and learn about. These are not all argue texts. Okay? There are texts in here that I just didn't understand, that I wanted to get the Greek wording for, that I didn't understand how it made sense with other texts. It ended up a lot of those that I had questions on, the preachers didn't have answers for. And that's why I'm pointing them out to you. But I didn't mark this Bible to debate. You assume that, but it's not true. I know, but that's not true. That's not why I did it. And instead of asking me, you made an assumption. Now I'm telling, yeah, but that's not why I did it. Exactly, your assumption is wrong because I marked this to learn. But I'm helping educate you about things that I found in the Bible because they didn't make sense to me. Okay, but I didn't mark this to debate. Okay, I'm glad that assumption has been cleared up now, right? Thank you.
Okay, it was nice meeting you.
Have a great day.
Maybe I will.
We'll see you around. Thank you.
أرجو من الله العلي غفران كل الزلل ورؤية الرحيم ووجهه العظيم وصحبة النبي الطاهر الزكي يا رب صل أبدا على النبي أحمد وآله وصحبه وتابع لهديه مغرد الحمام وسبح الأنام